What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Jake Shavink here, and the Packers took Lukas Van Ness, edge rusher out of Iowa, with the 13th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Nicknamed Hercules, he had an impressive 18.8% pressure rate in college. At just 21 years old now, he's a young player, so why didn't he get to play very much? Why was he a backup? Well, Iowa often puts guys in a rotation, right? Especially with the young guys. They love the seniority thing. They start the older guys, so that's really why Van Ness didn't get on the field as much. And we're going to look at why maybe Hercules is a great nickname for a couple years down the road, and a better one might be Hercules in training. So let's get to the film room and take a look at Lukas Van Ness. All right, guys, here we go into the film room with Lukas Van Ness. Plenty to talk about, especially him playing on the interior, playing on the edge. A lot to get to. So first clip we really want to look at is just the get off, and it's extremely quick to look at. You see him engaging. Look how quick he is off the ball. That's that type of explosion to power that you see him generate on the edge, but you see him engaged well before anybody is even close to engaging with the offensive lineman. So again, that explosion, that get off is what's important really in his repertoire. And you see it here, rushing with a 2-point stance. And again, when you have this kind of positioning at contact and you get guys off balance, it's a huge deal. Rip through, generate pressure, and we've got ourselves an incompletion. Again, really strong body positioning when you have guys unlock the hips, a little bit of explosion. You see this kind of flexion at contact. It's a really good spot to be able to drive tackles backwards. This is the clip everybody knows about, right? And it's the perfect one. You see this positioning at contact, and he's driving Paris Johnson Jr. right back into C.J. Stroud. When you see those kind of reps against tackles who went in the first round, that's a big deal. Again, good positioning. He gets to a long arm. One of his favorite moves that he gets to. Here, it really wasn't affected, right? He's on the edge against the run there. But again, you see him be able to get to this a lot. This is good positioning. You'd like to see him maybe a little bit more balanced, not over the skis here. Doesn't get him into trouble. Again, gets to the long arm and nearly puts some pressure on him. The Packers like this, right? They like these edge rushers who can rush with power, rush with explosion, who can generate quick pressure rather than having to get all the way around the arc. So here's a great one. Again, great positioning, speed to power, pushes him all the way back. Terrible position for the tackle to be in. He has created a nice lane for him to get to the quarterback and generate a hit before the ball comes out. This is one of my favorites, absolute. Goes for the chop here. You saw that. We'll go back just a little bit here and look at this. He's going to go for the chop. See him? And he whiffs. An absolute whiff on the chop. So usually what happens here is you're done. You're going on the ground, and this will happen in the league, but I think it's just really important to look at how he can survive with some balance here and then get into a forklift where he's going at the wrist, at the forearm to lift off, and then get back to a long arm to potentially generate pressure if the ball's not out quicker. We talk about a lot of these different traits with rushers, but I think in general for positions, quickness, agility, balance, and strength. That is impressive strength and impressive balance right there on that last rep. Once again, now that's a successful chop, gets to the long arm, and now he's able to kind of flatten that route and generate pressure, helps to get in on that sack there against Purdue. This is a nasty push-pull. Okay, he's up here, he's generating some power, and then yanks the tackle down. That is nuts. That's why the Hercules thing, it's a real deal. Okay, against Wisconsin, this is, again, quality offensive lineman, we know. Ken he gets a little bit off of leverage here, but he does a great job of resetting his hand and ready for it. Swipe. Quick swipe with the hands, gets by and nearly gets a piece of the quarterback. Actually turns into a pick six for Iowa. So there you go. Again, another one where, again, generate some pushback, right? Push-pull, get off the guy. Again, he got some help there, which prevented a pressure, but does a great job with the push-pull when he gets really good positioning at contact. Once again, like, this is really strong positioning. You're low and you're attacking. He's able to drive him back, and the quarterback has to get flushed out of the pocket. So that ability to consistently generate pressure is impressive. Again, another one here where Skoronski snatches him when he whiffs, right? And so in this position, you're usually done for, but this flexion he creates, and his ability to keep balance, the strength he has to reset and get after it a little bit and nearly get a hand on the quarterback there. That is difficult stuff. It is difficult to have that type of balance. Now, chop, swipe, get around the corner a little bit, and then show off the motor, show off some closing speed. This is why you see the great athlete in the testing numbers, because he nearly chases down Illinois' quarterback right there. Again, you see that it's a clinic, long arm, rip, nearly gets the QB there. So he's creating pressure at a high level. Again, run game. How do we feel about him on the edge against the run? Again, against Wisconsin. Stack, shed, and he's in the backfield. Just the immense power when he plays with strong positioning. Here against Illinois. Really good athlete, obviously. That range against the run, preventing the corner. That's really, really good. Again, engage the tackle, throw him off, and make a play in the backfield. Now, here we go a little bit more. Interior play for Lukas Van Ness. What do we see? How about this type of ankle flexion right here? This type of flexion at the point of attack to hold, close this gap along with his buddies here to create zero lane for Blake Corum. That is really impressive. If he can play with that power on the interior, you'd love to see that. Now, at 272, it's going to be harder for him, but here we go. Long arm. Generate some pushback there. Pocket was pretty clean on the other side, so not too much disruption. Here against Oluwatimi, look how he's off the ball already. A lot of these guys just barely get into their collisions. Van Ness is already back here, pushing Oluwatimi back. Nearly gets a hand on Corum here, and really helps the contain begin on the outside. Now, he's aligned over the tackle here, but we're rushing against the guard on this play because of protection slide. And again, look at the guard. He is back. He's just off balance the entire time. And you get a holding call here and nearly gets a hand on Stroud, who does throw a pick. So the ability to generate pressure is there from the interior, and the Packers are going to use him definitely in some sets where he can get after it on the interior. Here you go. Long arm, rip through, and sack. You don't see a lot of those necessarily on film. We don't have a lot of them, but there's one right there. Again, this time, push-pull, slant, stay balanced and quick there, and get a hit on the quarterback. That's the type of quicks and balance you like to see. Again, we talk about quickness, agility, balance, strength. Here again, good positioning, staying low, rip, get off the block. Again, would have been perfectly in position if that came his way. Now, he put a clinic out there against Iowa State when he was on the interior. How about this? Beat the center, drive him back, long arm, nearly gets a hit on the quarterback there. The guard has no chance against him in run D, just sheds that with ease. Put that running back on the turf. A little bit of a combo block that he has to deal with here. He does a great job staying put and driving. Nearly wrapped up there. That would have been tough with two hands on the guy. But again, here you go. Drive the guard back. Has no chance. He's on the ground. And the quarterback immediately has to get rid of the football. And again, another thing, motor, right? Backside play of the run. Really nice. Finish. Good job there. Again, loses a little bit here. Loses balance. Gets back up. High motor. Finish the play against CJ Stroud. Running a twist here from the inside, right? No pressure. Follow the quarterback. Change direction, right? Don't let up. And he doesn't get much yardage there at all. Okay, so a few things now. Just where he could look. Now, when you generate this explosion, when you're playing with this type of flexion, when you're out over your skis a lot, this can happen where, again, he's out over the skis, lineman just dumps him. And when you get out over your skis like that, you have to be careful. Now, his positioning is often really good. It's just when you get out too far, right? When you're extended fully, and he does a good job driving here, but the snatch kind of takes care of him a little bit, and he's on the ground. So when snatches take care of him and you see him lose balance there, that's the issue that we want to correct. Against DeJuan Jones here, look at what we're doing. We're kind of squaring up. You know, there's no ground gaining here against DeJuan Jones, right? And we're lined up. Our front foot is over this line. So watch this line here that everybody's on. Again, first step, second step. We're taking 3 steps, and we've gone about 2 yards. I get he's trying to chop and kind of trim rather than getting around or working inside. But ideally, you know, we want to get more steps out of our pass rush because, again, when you're not threatening at least on the outside track, we have problems there, and he gets stuck against a bigger dude in DeJuan Jones. Against Paris Johnson, what's the issue here, right? It's more positioning, I think, than anything because Paris Johnson plays with a lot of wide hands, and you saw him do that. He's got good positioning with his hands. It's just he's a little too upright and trying to get off here. And again, this is a really nice try to counter here with a little club, but again, he's latched on, and that's where the issues lie a little bit with Van Ness. The motor isn't the issue. It's when you have to combat some of the guys who are better at handling speed to power and better at handling positioning, like here against Wisconsin. Again, not a great rep from the tackle, kind of let the corner up, but when you have a pocket like this, quarterback can step up because you haven't really threatened the corner. He's still driving you outside, even though you tried to rip around there. The rip around took him too deep, and that's where we struggle again with counters. Now, Skoronski, again, snatch. And again, he does a good job. He does a good job, again, resetting, but he gets stuck here. There's nothing here. He's just trying to move to one side, right? And now, again, credit him for hustling and getting down here. But again, just wasn't able to combat a guy who might move into guard at the next level. He could play tackle, but he probably going to be a guard. Now, this is a good job. A nice club move gets him off balance. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Even if you take this running back out, he just he got him off balance and didn't take advantage. Then it was like, I guess I'll just try to run through you. And then he didn't gain any of the leverage and maintain any of the leverage he created at that point. Again, a good chop here. This is really winning with just kind of will and strength over anything technically, and that's not going to happen in the league. He's able to hit the quarterback, but I just think it's a classic example of a tackle oversetting a little bit, and he's just kind of winning with strength with kind of poor positioning at contact, and that's where I think the struggle lies a little bit with him. And then we've got the expand the repertoire, right? Speed to power. We'd love to see the spin move work. This ain't going to fly. You have to be around the corner. You have to be chopping correctly. Now, it works a little bit against the Purdue tackle. Promise it's not going to work in the league. Right here, fake spin. Where's Skoronski? Gotcha. Down on the ground. It's not going to work against NFL level tackles. So Lukas Van Ness, there's still a lot of promising things with him, right? When you look at the get off, you look at the explosion, that first step when it's all there. The power that he can generate off of that explosion is really impressive, right? We love what we see from the film in terms of that power, in terms of how it affects the run game, in terms of collapsing the pocket early, in terms of sometimes there are some counters there with some rips when people overset, and the amount of pressure he can generate from the interior gives Joe Barry a lot of options, especially when teams get behind the sticks. But again, it's going to be about consistent body positioning, consistent hand positioning. And what happens when you get stuck? Do you have something to counter off of it? Can you find a way to create more pressure when the initial rush is stopped? Because, again, he did a great job with what he worked with and what he was able to do in college. It's not always going to work like that in the league. And that's just something that he's going to have to figure out. But you see a little bit why Hercules in training, I think, is a better word for him, because I think he has that power, but he has to harness it in different ways. So I hope you guys enjoyed this film room on Lukas Van Ness. If you did, drop a like down there. Subscribe if you're new. Plenty more Packers draft pick film rooms and film rooms in general coming on the channel through the offseason and summer. So I hope you stick around for that. I will catch you guys in the next video. Farewell.